Sorry, ma'am. Of course your son can try the 7 million Scoville unit hot sauce. I work in a hot sauce store in a busy outlet mall. We're a well-liked local business and have many local return customers. But at this particular location, we also get a lot of tourists who are curious about our challenge items, or Hot Ones products. We have a large variety of samples available every day. Literally like 100 hot sauces, 50 plus barbecue wing sauces just out of the table, and we can pull another 50 plus bottles or so from the fridge if one's open. Even so, we get people who come in the store and ask to try the hottest sauce. They love jalapeno in their burritos and have eaten habaneros straight, and they're ready to enter the ring, swallow some sauce, and gain the admiration of a couple friends and bystanders at the cost of a stomachache. We usually try to guide them to the 10th hottest sauce in the store, burn them with it, and move on to something mild or medium, suited to their taste. Today, while I was selling items to people who were actually paying for things, a 10 or so year old boy enters the store. I always get wary when children enter the store because it's full of glass bottles. They usually dart straight for the shelves and pick something up. But this child came barreling towards me like a bullet. While I make change for this couple buying some sauce, he calls out to me, "Excuse me," in a horrendous whiny pitch. I ignore the rude interruption and continue my conversation with my customers. He parrots it again 12 times or so, back to back. As I thank these people and get them out of the store, finally I turn to him. "How can I help you? Where the hell are this kid's parents?"
"Hi, can I try the hottest sauce in the store?"
Not this crap again. I'm not dealing with this, not with a 10-year-old kid. I explained to him that the hottest sauce on the table is Hellboy Right Hand of Doom. It's spiked with a 6.66 million Scoville extract, and honestly, if you're not experienced with this kind of stuff, more than just a tiny bit can really mess up a good part of your day. Take my word for it. I explained to him he has to be 19 years old to try it and sign a waiver, which is bullcrap, but I'm off in 30 minutes, so screw this kid, and instead guide him to a tasty fermented habanero that he coughs his eyes out on before explaining to me that he could handle the right hand of doom because his dad eats spicy peppers with him all the time. Okay, I say. He leaves. Thank God. 15 minutes later, I'm interrupted by another customer, this time a gigantic woman donning a blue blouse. She sat next to my table like a giant blueberry, blocking up to 20% of my floor space. "Excuse me." Apple doesn't fall far. The customer I'm with are polite and ask me to speak to her. "You didn't let my son try the sauce." I explained to her that it has extract in it several hundred times hotter than anything he's ever eaten, and that it can cause him severe discomfort, and that I will not let him try it in my store. I explained that she is free to purchase the sauce and have him try it at home if she so wishes. She explained to me that she married a Mexican man, and I wouldn't believe the things we ate in New Mexico City, where he grew up. When I asked what they had eaten there, she told me, "Things hotter than anything you have in the store." At this point, her daughter interrupts our conversation. I kid you not. "Excuse me." What? I'm getting annoyed. I was annoyed from the second I saw the child, and now he's back 20 minutes later with 3 of him. "Why do you sell Valentina? It's not even a hot sauce." Jesus Christ, aren't you from Mexico? It says salsa picante? I don't know. On the damn bottle. It's $5.50. I'm off at 6. I've had enough. How about this? You can try the sauce, and if it's as mild as you think, I'll let him try it. She agreed and grabbed her sample stick. I reached for the right hand of doom and unscrewed the cap. Its nuclear aroma sending memories of aches to my stomach. As she goes to dip the stick into the sauce, I warn her to only take a small amount. She grins at me and dips the stick all the way into the sauce. Trap card, bitch. She slaps it into her mouth. Immediately, she looks uneasy before she throws herself into pure agony. She is coughing, swinging her head back and forth, trying desperately to speak, but she cannot muster any words. She dropped her sample stick in all the chaos. After a few solid minutes of coughing and dry heaving, she manages a single word. Water. I explained to her that water won't help her now. My relief walks through the door just in time to witness the finish. She tells me that the only reason she is coughing is because it went down the wrong pipe. She then immediately vomits into our garbage can. She apologizes for spitting up, like she didn't just rocket half a liter of chum into my trash can, and then leaves without saying anything else. I toss out the trash with a smile on my face and clocked out. Damn, by the powers of naughtiness, he must have demanded that particular drop of hot sauce to be really, really hot. Can't work more than 20 hours? Okay then, you take my place or get fired. This happened about 7 months ago. I used to work as a front desk assistant at one of my university student housing. Our duty was to check the ID of every student that enters the building to make sure they actually live there. Yeah, the doors were equipped with RFID system, and they all had enabled RFID cards, which they had to swipe before opening the door. Make temp cards for those who lock themselves out, and call the appropriate authorities in case someone passes out, or fire alarms, and stuff. We had to work under a graduate community assistant, GSD, who used to schedule us and approve out timesheets. The university policy regarding student employment was students weren't allowed to work more than 20 hours. Under certain conditions, the students could make it up to 25 hours, but the supervisor had to approve the timesheet. GSD used to change every few years as they graduate. New graduate students would replace them. During my junior year, a new GSD was appointed in our building. We'll call her Ellen. She always used to try to boss over student employees. Everybody hated her. Let's fast forward a few months. I got a co-op offer on one of the reputed companies on my field for the next term and summer. So I emailed her the same day I got my offer letter saying I won't be able to work next term. The next day I met her at work. She came over my desk and asked whether it was paid co-op or unpaid. It was paid co-op, and the pay was $8 more than her hourly pay. I subtly disclosed that, as she always used to be bossy over us. Boy oh boy, she really did make the rest of term hell for me. I remember working in that building for the last 2.5 years and knew all the residents on a first-name basis, so I never had to check their ID card. But she made me check the card of every individual passing through the gate. Now comes the best part. The girl, Max, was supposed to work after me, always used to come late, so I had to stay on the desk until she came. If she was more than 15 minutes late, I would put that half under my name. I was getting paid for that, so I didn't make a big deal. Because of situations like these, we were allowed to schedule for 20 hours max, but we can work for 25 hours max. At one time, she didn't show up for her shift at all, so I stayed throughout her shift. This caused my total hours to reach above 20. On the day of approving the timesheet, Ellen called me to her office and asked me why my hours exceeded 20. I explained what happened. Then she started saying I wasn't allowed to work more than 20, and she can't approve my 2 hours about 20. Apparently, I had to email her a day prior to working someone else's shift, and it had to be approved. Cue malicious compliance. Remember, front desk assistants was the first emergency responders, so it was emphasized in our training that the desk should never be vacant, which is why I continued to work even after someone didn't show up. After that day, if Max became more than 5 minutes late, I would call Ellen to look after the desk. She really wasn't happy about it, but that was the rule. She also couldn't fire Max, as hiring another student worker and training them in the middle of a term would be troublesome. After a few terms, Ellen stopped picking up my calls. I would wait until I make enough hours to make 20 that week, and I would leave if Max wasn't there by that time. One day, after I left, unfortunately/fortunately, someone burned their popcorn in the microwave, and it triggered the fire alarm. The residents noticed there was no one at the front desk, and they themselves called 911 and procedure to evacuate the building. After a few minutes, a few cop cars and 2 fire trucks reached the building. All this happened, and Ellen had no idea about it. The area coordinator reached the scene and managed everything. Firemen found the source and everything was cleared. The next day, I got an email from our area coordinator to meet him, as I was the last person on the desk. As I reached there, along with area coordinator, there was Ellen and another guy who seemed important. They started by saying how irresponsibly I acted. I got fired and the disciplinary charges that might follow. Then, I began to explain everything to them. I started from that unapproved 2 hours and went along with how Ellen said to me I wasn't allowed to work for more than 20 hours. I even told them I called both Max and Ellen, but no one picked up the phone. I stayed 45 minutes after my shift ended, and as I wasn't allowed to work more than that, I just left. The room went silent and Ellen turned red. They dismissed me and told I will be getting an email regarding the decision. Later that day, the area coordinator apologized for the misunderstanding over email and asked me I can have my job back, but I declined. I was getting a co-op with good pay a few months later, so I decided to take my time off. Later, I heard from my friends who were still working there that both Ellen and Max were fired. And no one is scheduled for 28 hours, and the area coordinator had to cover that. I genuinely feel bad for the guy. Alrighty guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did and you're new around here, maybe consider subscribing. And if you really liked it, maybe give it a thumbs up and a share. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.